everybody, and welcome to another episode of Warrior Women in the World of Entrepreneurship podcast. I'm joined today with Warrior Woman guest and entrepreneur, Samara Couri. She's an artist originally from London, and she got her degree in fine art from, I always have to look at this because it's a mouthful, but she got her degree in fine art from the City and Guilds of London Art School. So Samara, she's exhibited in many prestigious galleries around the world and is currently now living in Hawaii, where she's doing a deep dive into the Hawaiian culture, dance, art, language, and so much more here. And it's always wonderful to be able to see and hear from her. Her schedule is packed full every time I talk to her, so it's awesome to have her here today, and I appreciate it. So Samara specializes in painting on mirrors. At least that's what I've seen from her, and she can go more into that as well in this interview. So she paints on mirrors that face and reflect one another, becoming one piece. Primarily using oil on mirror, the painting in turn becomes an immersive 3D piece with different perspectives and angles on the subject matter. And again, this is not my specialty, so she'll be able to go further into that, but I'm super excited to have her on today. So Samara Couri, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So talk to us, what got you into art first and foremost, and like what made you want to go into that degree or that specialty?
Honestly, it's just something that I've always loved since I was little. I always felt connected to it. It was always my happy place. Although I wasn't 100% sure whether I was going to go in that direction fully. But in school, in high school, I had a very influential, amazing, special art teacher, amazing artist. And through his guidance and his belief in me and everything, kind of just changed it for me. Confirmed. Okay, this is the way I'm gonna go. It just helped. It's sometimes you do have that one teacher that you will always remember and be grateful for.
Yeah.
And so it was like that with him. And
This was in your undergrad?
No, this was high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay,
where
gotcha.
I was like, okay, this is where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And it opened up, it expanded my world into the arts a lot more. Just confirming, I know this is my love, and I'm gonna actually make this my life.
Yeah. It's very rarely you'll find somebody that majors in fine art and then actually goes on to do art, right? And make that their living.
Because it's not easy.
Right, exactly. Which is why we're talking to you today, to see how you've been able to do it. Not only that, but you've been able to do it outside of your country of origin, right? Which is also a whole nother set of challenges just due to visas and different things, So I know all about that from a friend that I had that ended up coming over, and it actually really does help to have like a very niche thing, I think, which we'll get into that as well. So you decided you went into college for fine art, and then what did the classes entail, and what made you for sure decide this is what I want to do? It's a multi-part question. And then how did you get to mirrors specifically? And are mirrors the only thing that you really work with?
So when I started up, it was, I had to choose carefully about what kind of art school I was going to go to, because you have the fine arts, which, so many different practices in that. Sculpture, painting, illustration. I mean, there's a photography. There's a whole wide of disciplines that we can focus on, and what art school is the best for your discipline. And I needed a place that would that wasn't like 100 students in a tiny space, because there's a lot of art schools like that. Big names, but sometimes there's a few things missing once you're inside.
Right.
So with City and Guilds, it's just very few of us in there. It was less than 15 people.
Yeah.
And big studio spaces. It was just very helpful to have that structure and whatnot. And so just through, I think I discovered. Well, actually, let me rewind a little bit, because I I do focus on people, portraits, figures, and everything. But the subject matter is people, not just I'm painting a face. There is a story behind that, the connections. And my art teacher that I mentioned in high school, he would pay from his own pocket, bringing in a life model from from the age of 12.
Do you know how much that usually runs? Like the cost?
No.
Yeah.
That's between him and the models.
No, but not just specifically for him, but anybody else that's thinking to do that or is running their own business and wants to do that. That's why I asked those questions.
Oh, well, it depends.
Again, business is all about
it
how to make that happen.
Like usually for the model, you would pay them. I mean, it really varies.
Right, and person to person, who knows?
Where you live, but you would have to, unless it's a community place, but you have to pay for the space and pay for the model. But then all the students would pay for the lessons, so that should cover it. It's not usually done for a profit in that sense. It's just so we can get some light drawing.
Sure, I guess I just meant like within like the person who is hiring, like if that's something that you would bring in, like, and other people are thinking of doing, like, what aspect would that bring? Awesome. So post college, how did you get into, or did you start in college knowing how to make art your business essentially? Because we know it's your passion, but how do you make art your business?
Well, that's difficult. Where sometimes you have to just figure it out for yourself. They don't always teach you that in art school. I mean, you get a little guidance, yes, sure. But then essentially you are on your own. And it's like, okay, good luck, get out there. There is a lot of hustling, which is a word that I never heard more in my life than when I moved to the States. In California and so on. Anyway, it is something that you have to go through certain sacrifices, work a lot. I mean, I had like my day jobs, that I had to have to maintain a roof over my head, whilst also trying to forge on with my art career. And being an artist it can be very expensive because of the materials, and the time it's time consuming also with submissions, with networking, going to openings and galleries and so forth, and mingling, and it does get tiring. But at the end of the day, I'm happy because that is what I love to do it, because I know that is the direction that I'm going, and I'm lucky enough to be able to go down that path. So you just have to be persistent, It's like if you're an actor and you keep going to auditions, majority of the time it's rejection.
Yeah.
But you have to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
It's just part of how it is, You have to keep going. How much do you love it, And essentially, if you are creating something that you care about, that is the most important thing, and everything else feels a little bit easier. It's difficult to be persistent in something that you don't love that much or care about. So yes, that drive, that persistence, all of the different kind of submissions and exhibitions that you put up, and then you put yourself out there. Like I would do commissions a lot, and that's very helpful. Portrait commissions, because that's like, to me, it's like a bonus every time.
So can you explain to us, for the viewers, listeners that don't know what commissions are? Like, we know what commission is in general. Like, hey, we work at the store, you get something off of it if you sell something. So would it be your own art, or how does that work with commission?
So someone would want, for example, a painting of their partner, and so they would commission me as the artist to paint who they want.
How would they find you,
and
typically?
A lot of times it's been through the shows, through the exhibitions, through word of mouth, or through an art dealer, or many ways like that. My website and so forth.
And the exhibitions, but the exhibitions, that's like from your submissions, right? So how would you find out about the exhibitions? Just, I guess, through the world, right? Like you would just keep up on it, find out where the exhibitions
Yeah.
are going to be, and then you would submit your work, and then they would decide if they'd want to exhibit you. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. Without gallery representation, because that's something that some artists want, some artists don't. And,
Right.
You know, because you're binded by a contract.
Right.
And, not everybody wants that.
It's like a manager for like actors. Would that be correct in saying? Like
in some ways, yeah. So they would commission me to do the painting, and they would, we work out on size and price and all that, and on what material. So usually with the commissions, I paint on canvas. Sometimes I paint it directly on the wall. I mean, it really depends on what the person wants wood. Majority of the time, it's canvas.
And then for you, like, do you decide the pricing of that? Like,
yes,
okay,
yeah,
awesome. And then how would you determine that? And did it increase over time? So let's talk about that for those who might be thinking of going into this industry, because that's a big factor, right? And that's why this podcast exists, right? To get into that detail and nitty gritty, not to invade your privacy, but to really try to make sure that those out there are being not only realistic, but have an idea of how that they can start and then move forward and what that scope looks like for them.
Yeah, that is important because when I first started, it was very low, because I just started.
Yeah.
And I have to build my profile. So it's important to build your profile and reputation, and to you get your work out there so you get seen, and then it becomes familiar.
Got it.
So definitely at the beginning, it was, of course, on the low side.
Yeah. How do you determine the price on that though? Like because of materials?
Materials, absolutely, you have to count the time it takes, the size, and you start off with a sort of basic amount, and then the time it takes matches as well.
Would you measure that too?
Oils. I use mainly oils. How do you measure
the time? Like, would you like set? I know this is like nitty gritty stuff, but like, would you set a clock for yourself, or you just kind of like have like a grand scope of like, okay,
that's an important question. So the client, sometimes it depends on the client when they want the piece. I have found that if they wanted like 2 weeks is very kind of short notice.
Yeah.
But I have done it. I've done it in a week. Which that just I have to cancel everything in my week and just do the painting.
Yeah.
And so kind of have to count the hours, and especially if I've noticed they are willing to, maybe I shouldn't say that, but there's less flexibility in them dropping the price. Or you allow them to drop the price if they wanted something at a short notice. That's just my experience. That's not something that is necessarily the case. Because I can't. It's good to be flexible as well with what they want.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like shipping. Like even with any delivery, right? If like you want to expedite it, it's going to cost you more. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good comparison, actually. I never thought of it that way.
It's like if I want it next day, I got to pay more for
it. That's so true. Yeah. Just happened to. It felt like it just happened that way. Actually, yeah. But that's true. I would just count the time, and because of the years that I've done this and how my price has had to go up gradually, because you start making a living and you can only work with a certain amount of minimum to keep going, and there has to be consistency also.
So how did you determine that, and when did you decide that this could be your full time? Or was that like, do you still have a side job?
For me, no, thankfully. No. But for me, there was never a decision. This is going to be it was always that's just what it's going to be. Even though I had side jobs, but that wasn't my life because this is what I do, and that's what I am.
Yeah.
So the side jobs, grateful, whatever, all of that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's wasn't my life.
Right.
So to me, there was no decision making.
Sure. I suppose the question really is not a decision of how you chose that. It's more of when. So
When to leave the side job?
yes. That's yes.
When
I did that as well.
When I hit a certain mark in my bank account.
Right.
Yeah.
You talked about consistency too.
Yes,
So how,
yeah.
or was it just the savings and you're like, okay, I don't have to keep this right now because I have enough for backup, and then if I need to, like, was there a contingency plan after that?
Yeah, no, for me it was like I didn't want to be just, oh, okay, here, I have enough to stop working and then hope for things to come in, because I don't, my financial backup is just me.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not like I have anything or anybody else to fall back on. Great for people that do.
Mhm.
That wasn't my situation. It's not my situation.
Yeah.
So even though I worked very hard on the art, and if I would sell at the shows or have a commission, and very good. Maybe I could have left at that moment my side jobs, but I didn't. I wanted to continue just to make sure that I know at some point things will actually be okay. Because security is important.
Yeah.
So then, then I so when I got to that point where I felt secure for me, for my life, for my situation, um, that's when I was like, sayonara side jobs.
And how long did that take you to coordinate to?
Between
I guess. Well, first off, how long have you been in the States? It's not just been Hawaii. You lived in California.
No,
You
yeah,
lived,
yeah.
Did you live? You didn't live in New York.
No,
No, you were talking about it. That's okay.
it would have been
Okay.
nice, but
Yeah.
I couldn't quite afford New York.
Yeah.
LA was just like the next one. It was LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Them gas prices in LA I see right now. I don't
Yeah,
know if
it's a
that's
bit
been
mad.
what. But so how long? When did you come over from London? And then also, like, were you starting to exhibit in London first, like over in the area?
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's very, very important, because I was exhibiting from before I got into art school, and then during
great.
art school, and then after. Absolutely, it's quite important.
So you were
to
exhibiting
do that.
like before college, so after or during high school?
Just before. Just before I started my degree, and then during, because that's part of for us anyway, that was part of the degree.
Yeah.
And also outside of it as well. So yeah, I absolutely just, that was always continuous.
Right.
And after, and you just have to get going with that. And then you build up a portfolio of your exhibitions, of things that you've done, and publications, and all of that. And then coming to the States, I had to apply for the artist visa, the O1 visa. It's known as the Extraordinary Ability Artist Visa. Sounds like a superhero.
It does sound like a superhero.
I know. I was like, oh god.
That's the same one my friend did come in under, because he did Irish dance, and even though that wasn't what he wanted to do, even though he was so good at it, that's how we became friends. Actually, I'm like, okay, he dances really well. He's got that nice heel slide. But anyway, but he'd done it for a while. He learned it in Ireland, and he lived in Argentina. And again, he was very good at it, but it wasn't what he wanted to do. He works in technology, very talented man. But yeah, he did not want to come through with that. And I'm like, just use it as your entry, use it as your way to get in, and then you can try to figure out how to, get a job with what you want to do, like your primary focus.
No, not really. On the O1 visa, you have to stick with what the O1 visa.
Well, no. He was still sticking with it, until he could figure out how to get also another job as well, doing what he does, I think in technology. But yes, he still came, he still taught, he still did it. But just like anybody else, if you're living in New York or anywhere, you got to have that side hustle. So his side hustle at that time, I think, became later his main hustle, and they were able to, I think, sponsor him through that. So
that's good.
That's his situation. But it's, at least able to get you in the door, and then you can figure out how else you can, live the way you want to live and contribute to society there, wherever you may reside.
Yeah.
So speaking of residing, so you were in London exhibiting there, and then what brought you over to the States?
Oh, I wanted to see how the art scene would be here for me, well, in California.
But why here? Like, why the States versus anywhere else?
English speaking.
Yeah.
So
I figured that actually when I asked, but yeah.
Well, I mean, although totally wouldn't have minded to. I could go to another country and learn the language there, but just in terms of for the art world, it just made more sense to me. Um, Even though art is a universal language in many ways,
sure.
But, I went with my gut feeling. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
yeah,
I know that's very like, oh
no, I think it's very important as entrepreneurs. Like you, there's been many times I've spoken to other entrepreneurs on the podcast, and actually Jessica Krupa, who's like one of my first people that were on the podcast. She's also my cousin. She talks about that a lot. Anytime she hasn't followed her gut, it's just been a regrettable experience.
Oh yeah.
So following your gut is I think very important.
That is true. Every time when I have gone against it, it hasn't worked out. So
trust in yourselves and don't second guess.
Yeah,
is the key thing there. So how long was California was where you first moved to from London? How old were you when you moved, or at what point in your life were you when you moved here? Like how far after college?
Oh. What, 6 years?
Okay.
5 years, something.
And then California, how long were you in California?
I was there for
goes by fast.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. And what were you able to do there? Like was it a struggle when you first moved, or like because your art was known it was a little bit easier, or did you really have to like hustle hard in order for people to know you and to be exhibited over?
It was
mind you, it doesn't have to be a struggle. Like if it was easy, great. Like that's perfect. And
there were times where it was nice, it was good flow, and then there were times that there was a hustle. Mm-hmm. There was that what was the question?
Just when you moved to LA, was it a struggle?
Okay. So LA is so different from London. Mm-hmm. I found it to be very different with the art world, with how people work, with how they think, and culture. It just was very different. I enjoyed many aspects of it. It was interesting. It did. I mean, definitely in terms of getting things done. In my experience, I found things to take a bit longer in LA. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Than in London.
Further west
London,
you go.
It's like, they say something, they mean it, they do.
Yeah.
LA, it's a bit more flexible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talking.
Yep.
And it's like, okay.
Yep. Like, let's go.
So that was the difficulty.
Yeah.
A lot.
That you'll get in New York. Is that they say it and they go.
And that's what I love.
Yeah.
And that's big reason why I love New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still also love New York. I know I've talked about it in podcasts. I love it. I am grateful not to be living in it. I'm very grateful to be living here. So let's talk about that transition. So when was it that you decided that you were going to go from LA to Hawaii? And what made that decision?
Oh, well. Hawaii is a very, very special sacred place that I always felt a connection with, even though I hadn't even been here. But I always had such a deep respect for its people, its culture, the land, And I finally came to visit a couple of years ago, just for a few days, and I really fell in love.
To Oahu specifically, is where you came to visit, or did you travel on the islands?
Maui as well, yeah. Mm-hmm. But there was just something I was like, oh, time to leave LA.
Yeah.
Because LA, the way of life there is very much about work. Everybody wants more. That's, it gets very tiring to be in that environment. I'm not quite like that, you know. It gets tiring to be in that environment, you know, and everybody wants it's a rat race with everything else.
Yeah, and always.
Always, yeah.
It gets draining. It gets draining.
And your soul feels like it's getting very dehydrated.
Yep.
and Hawaii nourishes your soul. I felt, wow, you know, so nourished, and there's a lot of respect between the people. And then for my art, I thought it's important for me to now really learn what this island is. Really know the history, which is important. Um, and so whilst here on the island, my focus is on the people, the story of the people, Hawaiian people, Polynesian people, from the history to how things are now. And yes, it looks like a paradise and everything, but there is a lot of sadness and lots of struggle and a lot of unfairness and injustices. Absolutely. So, coming here, I didn't come here with an ignorance, be like, oh, I'm coming to Hawaii for me. Kind of, no.
Yeah.
You know, this island is too sacred to come with ignorance and think that you're coming just for yourself. You can never come to this island just for yourself. You always have to give back in one way or the other, and it's important to learn. And that's the other thing about art. You are always learning. Like martial arts, you're always learning. There's never something like, okay, I got to this stage, I can leave now. Yeah. I'm good. I don't need to know. It's never like that. It's always a learning process. And so when I move to a different environment, I learn something new that I put into my art. And as I'm putting into my art, I still continue to discover more things. And I think it's really, really important, you know, to have that awareness, to be mindful. And as an artist, what are you putting out there? What for? You know? What and how are you contributing with your art? So that's important to me. Those questions is something that is like the main thing that I have to think about. So it felt right to come here. And best decision I've made ever. You know, and the other thing is that I continue doing my work, but I am also exhibiting outside of Hawaii. Oh, okay. This Hawaii is like life. You're living life, not hustling. Always thinking about it. You know, it's different. It's richer in terms of uh, how people place the meaning of life. Not rich in terms of money.
Yeah.
Just it's more enriching, you would say, in every way. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting right near. For those that are listening, we're sitting like right near a mango tree too, which
yes,
I actually have just recently been able to enjoy. My cousin, whose property this is, planted them when she got here. She's amazing foresight. She's also an entrepreneur now as well. She's a veterinary radiologist, so hopefully I'll be able to get her on the podcast as well to talk about that. But I am literally enjoying the fruits of her labor here. But it is beautiful to be able to see something planted, see it grow, and with much work from my aunt as well, who comes like her and my uncle come in the winters and like treat the shit out of this like tree, like and all the ones. Yes, so thanks to their hard work too, and my upkeep, it's now we see like the fruits, and this is part of the richness of Hawaii.
Yes, exactly.
Well, because I mean that, and also like the importations are so expensive, but like a lot of people here, especially like we shouldn't have to rely on those imports, right now.
Shouldn't.
Right.
They make it very difficult for people here,
yes,
for the Hawaiians.
Yeah, but there's many like places, and some of my students too are involved in like Hawaiian immersion school, and then they go to summer camps to where they're teaching them how to like cultivate and how to do things, and part of that culture and the language. So, and I'm learning very much from them. So you talked a little bit about being able to coming to Hawaii and not coming for yourself, and being able to offer something and to be able to give back, which also can be learned, right? If you are unfamiliar, I didn't know too much.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So how?
It's when I say ignorant, I mean to stay ignorant.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that you know you should. You're living here, and if you are not willing to understand where you are living, what the history is, or what is going on, then you choose to live in ignorance.
Right. And also, you're not going to be as welcomed, and nor will your line of work, your art, your martial arts.
Yeah,
school.
because when I moved here, I wasn't fully aware. Well, when I came actually for the first time for those few days, I wasn't fully aware of the actual reality of how Hawaii became what it is today, you know, or the people or anything. Because when I moved here and I'm like walking around in the area, to be completely honest with you, I'm walking around and I'm looking, I'm like, what are the Hawaiian people?
Yeah.
What? So we all have a responsibility to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Right. And then there's also, we've talked about this a little bit, but there is difference between even Hawaiian and local, like those who are residents, right? So when they refer to Hawaiian people, it means people of Hawaiian blood, whether that's
Maoli, yes, absolutely.
whether that's partial or whatever. And then if you're not, and you are still born here, then you're known as just like local or resident.
Yeah.
So how? Let's talk about going back to giving back and keeping all of that in mind. How have you given back through your art? So you were mentioning earlier about that you're using oils and such on the mirrors.
On the mirrors, yeah. So the mirror work for me is something that really I don't think anyone has done. There is an artist called Pistoletto. He has done work, but it's on mirrors, but it's different. It's very different to what I do because mine does become an installation where they I paint people and you become part of the piece. It's very immersive. It's paintings that become immersive. So you reflect within this piece, within this situation. So in terms of the situation of Hawaiian people. And also when I moved here, I noticed because of the story, the way I paint is a little bit different, purposefully, to show, the disparity with the Hawaiian people, how they are being dispersed. So my mark making is a little bit more dispersed. It's still like a little bit more expressive, It's not like fully painted because, but they are strong people. Their souls are strong. They know who they are, their identity. So even though in many ways there is this force that is like having them being dispersed, but they're still here. They always will be, and coming together. And coming back.
I don't think people really realize that there is an indigenous culture here. Like, I'm not sure that that's what people think of when they think of Hawaii. Like, that's not their first thought. And it's just like, no, but there is. There's such like, where do you think the hula comes from, or where do you think like these different aspects come from? It's that indigenous culture. Think? I think they're just culture. I just said it in your accent. Culture. No, I mean, I don't think they're really thinking of that. I think they're just thinking like, oh, we're gonna go have fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, nothing wrong with that either. But it's just understanding that it is coming from that. Like,
but you have to understand, like this. We are in Polynesia, and it wasn't just like boom, part of the states just naturally.
Right.
The continent is quite far.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Just have a think. Oh, how did Hawaii become part of the states?
Yeah.
That in itself. Oh, Hawaii is of course the indigenous people. Well, like there is in North America.
Right. Exactly. Right. And that's I think what people also should realize, and not everyone. Right. Some of you would be like, well, duh, yeah, of course. Right. But some do not. Yeah. So again, going back to the art, so you exhibit here as well as like still around the world.
Yeah.
And being commissioned, so that's still
so I would send my work out there, or I'd fly out there.
And people still commission you from around the world as well? Or?
Yeah.
Or primarily from here? Like, how is that working?
Primarily from here. No, Europe, or on the continent.
And how do they find you?
Well, it's a lot of the times it's from people I've worked with from before.
Yeah, word of mouth.
And it's yeah, thankfully, it just sort of builds up from there. And then if I've worked with an art consultant here and there, in London or California or wherever, then that helps. Like it's
So just getting out there and also just getting your art out there
Yeah.
and being able to have others talk about it too.
Yeah.
It's
a lot
important.
of the times, actually, when I do exhibit, they will see because I was saying most of the time it's canvas, but somebody comes and they see my mirror work.
Mhm.
I've had quite a few couples and families that want their portraits done in the way I paint the mirrors. In their house, because I can always adjust with how I place the mirrors.
Right.
So that has happened, and that's always fun.
So yes,
Yeah.
so I was correct. So you do specialize in the mirror work, but you also can do, like you said, on canvas.
Yeah, so my own subject matter is different from the commissions.
Mm.
The commissions, I can paint whatever it is that you like, anything, an ant,
Yeah.
or a person, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
It's cool. On anything that you fancy. So that's separate from the subject matter, which is my actual work. Although I still care and enjoy doing the commissions, but it's for me quite different.
Right. Like you have those skills to be able to do it, and then you can also use those skills to put it into your own making of what you want. It's the jikundo of.
Yeah,
Painting,
because
yeah.
in my work when I exhibit or it is something that I am speaking. It is my work. It's coming from myself. The commissions is it's something. It's a piece of work that somebody wants for themselves that they're asking for.
Right.
So it's their story. The commissions are their story. Separate from that, it's my story. I say my story, but
It's your expression of.
for other people to join in, because I like the work to be a part of the viewer. The viewer they can have their own story with the piece. They can have their own connection. It's their own personal space.
Mm-hmm. And then can people purchase those still? So you exhibit those.
Mhm.
What is your own work? What is your own view? And then, like I said, you exhibit that, and then people that see it, are they able to purchase it, or are there certain items that you do or you don't sell or offer up for sale?
When I exhibit, no, it's always been for sale. But that's actually just remind me. That's a good question. So yeah, when I exhibit, so far it's always been for sale. Like whoever wants to buy it. But there is sometimes, I know a lot of artists do go through this. They become attached with a piece, and it's difficult for them to sell it. And you just really hope that if somebody does buy it, and if you do decide to depart from it, that they are the right person. They do have that respect and care for it, because you can become attached to a painting. And I try, and I was very much like that before with certain pieces that I would make, not necessarily mirror paintings, other like canvas paintings from before, because sometimes so before in the past, whatever was going on in my life would reflect in the paintings, but I didn't think I was doing it on purpose. It was like a subconscious thing.
Yeah, it becomes like your journal.
Yeah.
It's your version of journaling.
But I try to detach from that. So it's not the easiest, but yeah. So I try to be mindful of not being too attached. But then it's your choice as well. With you can say yes or no. Sometimes it's like I really need to sell this painting this month. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so where can people find you if they do want to commission you, or if they want to find out where you're being exhibited? How can
Everything
people find
is on my
that?
website.
Okay.
So yeah, samaracouri.com.
Yep. SAMARA, which I'm going to link in the description as well, but SAMARACOURI.com.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes,
And then do you have any like social medias or anything where people can find you or see your art?
No.
That's okay. That's all right. Hey, that's fine.
I did
shove them off the
you know
website.
what? I've never been on Facebook. I've always kind of been anti that.
Mhm.
For me, I just like there's like no sense of privacy in the world anymore.
Yeah,
And I
you want to
didn't
immerse
want to
yourself in this
contribute
world, not that world.
Yeah, it's worked for me not to be on that platform.
So, and lastly, too, so they can find you on their website, which is awesome. So please go check out her website, guys. Also linked in the description.
I'll work on social media.
No worries, you don't have to. That's your style, and if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
You know? So, my last question to you would be: what would be a piece of advice that you would offer any aspiring entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs that are either trying to work with an artist or trying to establish themselves as an artist, or maybe they already have, but trying to get their work out there? Like, what would your piece of advice be for them?
Honestly, it's, and I know I mentioned it earlier, I think, but being persistent is important, and not to give in just because you haven't gotten to a certain stage, or don't limit yourself in terms of timing or anything. You have to think about what makes you happy, and it's okay to have certain struggles. That's part of life, and you learn from that, and you know better for the next time. You learn from mistakes and you learn from challenges, and it's also important to perhaps when there is a challenge, just be like, okay, this is going to be fun, you know like, I'm strong enough, I can do this. So it's just really not to be afraid to put yourself out there. Believe in your work, believe in yourself, know your worth is really, really important. To know your worth, value yourself, and it's, in terms of art, it's very subjective. So not everybody is going to love what you do, but there will always be others that will connect to your work, and the more you go, the more you put yourself out there, the more chance for opportunities opening up for you. So it's having consistency in doing your work, the belief, knowing your worth, knowing your works well, just to keep going at it. And I also have to point, in terms of as an artist, um, when if I do an art fair or exhibit with other artists, and they do amazing work, but they've really lowered their price as well, just because they think it's gonna sell easier. But it's not always the best thing for an artist, because you have to talking about that work. Like, your work is a lot. It's worth a lot more, than just pleasing somebody to buy it.
Yeah.
So it's just having the strength and um, tenacity also to rise above all of that. And it's not always going to be easy, but the ride can be so worth it. And at the end of the day, when you go home, you know that you were doing something that you love. Not everybody gets that chance. So it's just keeping an open mind, not to be hard on yourself. Do other things also. Sometimes that just surrounds you. It's just your world. But it's important to have a balance, to do things outside of that is good for your mind, good for your body, whatever it may be, a sport or meditation or whatever it is. To have a balance in so many ways is very, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. And you have to keep that energy flowing. It is important, I find. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you so much, Samara, for coming. Those are beautiful words, and I hope that you guys have gotten a lot out of this interview, as I have. Please check out Samara and all her. You said you do put it on your website when you are exhibiting?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So please go to her website, again, samaracouri.com, and stay tuned for more episodes with us. And Samara, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Colo. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great day. Aloha, guys.
Aloha.